Hey guys, what's up? This is Stephanie. I'm back and I have another review for you guys this week. So I just finished my second semester of PA school of the first year of didactic year. So I have one more semester of didactic year to complete my entire didactic year, and that's going to be during the summer. And I'm currently in my 3-week, I have 3 weeks off before I start in the summer again. So I'm currently in the 3 weeks that I have off, enjoying them, which were much needed after my second semester. So this video is just going to be talking about my second semester of PA school, how it went, whether it was harder than my first semester of PA school or not. So I just want to talk a little bit more about that. So in comparison from the first semester to the second semester of PA school, my first semester I took 17 credit hours, and second semester I took 18 credit hours. So this semester I had more credit hours than the first semester. But to be honest with you guys, I think this semester was easier for me than my first semester. And I could say that because my first semester PA school, I really struggled. If you haven't seen my previous videos, I really struggled with the first semester PA school. And I had almost all B's. I didn't get any A's at all. And then this second semester, I was actually able to get several A's. So I was really happy about that. But I think what was different in comparison from the second semester to the first semester is that the first semester I didn't know how to study well, or what effective studying was, or what type of studying worked for me. I was trying to pick out of everywhere and trying to copy what other students did, what things worked for them, and they didn't work for me. So I had to learn what actually worked for me. And then once I learned that, I was able to repeat it over and over again, and I was able to get A's on my exams. So I was really happy about that. So that's why I thought that this semester was easier for me. Now that's just my point of view. I know some other PA students and some of my classmates actually thought the opposite. They thought that this semester was harder for them than the first semester. But for me, honestly guys, I thought this semester was a lot easier for me than my first semester, even if I was taking a lot of class hours. So what did I do differently? What worked for me? I learned that repetition works for me, flashcards work for me, repeating the information over and over again, at least once a day. And that's one of the goals that I set for myself. One of the videos that I have of my entire day throughout PA school, in a day in PA school, what I would do is I would study, and then at the end of the day I did flashcards. In the class that I was struggling the most, which was my weakest one, which was my ICM class, which is the Introduction to Clinical Medicine class. So that's a class where you learn how to diagnose a patient, how to treat a patient, what to order on a patient. So that's one of your main classes, your main bulk classes of what PA school is. And that's one of the classes that is worth the most. It's worth 4 credit hours. So in the first semester, I was dangling with that class. I almost got a C. Thankfully, I got a B in that class. So I told myself, this semester, I'm going to work as hard as I can, because I know that class was my weak point, and then so is anatomy and physiology. And so I focused a lot on these classes that were my weak point, and I tried to excel in them. And thankfully I did, because I ended up getting A's. I ended up getting an A in ICM, which was pretty awesome. I was really happy about that. And what I did is that I did flashcards, like I said, every night. I did flashcards for at least 30 minutes over what we had learned that day. So I started adding up. At the end, before I took my exam, it was about 200 flashcards. So I would start with 30, and then I would add 30 or 40 more, etc. And then at the end, I would go over 200. But think about it, if you're repeating them over and over and over again, it's just, you're able to go faster through the flashcards. It's just having to learn that new information. The new flashcards was what was taking me longer. But this really helped me out, because by the time the exams came around, I wasn't struggling and feeling like I didn't know anything. I actually felt comfortable, because I actually felt like I knew the information. So this is what worked for me, was just repetition, flashcards, going over the information daily, over and over again, and not just forgetting about the old information. For example, my first module was GI, so gastrointestinal. That module was 4 weeks. So in first week, we learned one information. Imagine by the time you're in week 4, you forgot the information that you learned in the first week, because it's not repeated unless you're repeating it yourself over and over again. So that's why it's really important to repeat the information every day. That way you don't forget it and it stays fresh in your mind. And that's what worked for me, guys. Now, what modules did we go through this semester? So modules are basically what body systems did we cover. So the second semester I covered, my first module was my GI, gastrointestinal. I really enjoyed this module, and I actually wouldn't mind going into the specialty. My second module was endocrine, so diabetes, hormones, etc. I actually struggled a lot with this module, and this was actually my module that I had the lowest grades out of the 4 modules. And then my third module was the renal system, so the kidneys. And then my fourth module was MSK, musculoskeletal. So I really enjoyed this module also. So those were the 4 modules that we went over this semester. I also finished my anatomy and physiology. I'm done with it. We only have anatomy and physiology for 1 year. And after this semester, I was done with it. So 2 semesters only, and then I'm done with it. So I finished my anatomy and physiology class. I also had my ICM, anatomy and physiology class. I had my pathophysiology, where you learn about the pathology of diseases, the physiology of how, for example, the body system works, etc. And then my patient encounter class, which is where we were learned. So patient encounter class for the first semester, we were taught normals. So when you look into an eye, what's normal, pupil dilation, pupil constriction, etc. So second semester, we were taught abnormals. So now when you look into an eye, what does it mean if you see yellow? Or what does it mean if your vessels are enlarged, etc. So we learned abnormal. So this was actually a little bit harder in comparison to first semester patient encounter. I struggled a little bit with this class. I was so close to that A, guys. I got like an 88.91, and I was so upset because I worked so hard for that class. Anyway, so that was my patient encounter class. It's my third class. And then, I'm sorry, fourth class, because I had pathophysiology, anatomy physiology, I had patient encounter, and ICM. And then I had my clinical class, so clinical lab science and methods class. So this is where you basically learn how to read labs. So they'll give you a lab, and then you're able to read it, blood values, urine, etc. And then I also had my pharmacology class also. So those were the classes that were this semester. So first semester it was pathophysiology 1, anatomy physiology 1, and then this semester it's everything's 2. So ICM 2, pathophysiology 2, anatomy physiology 2. Now, I will say anatomy physiology did get harder the second semester. I struggled with anatomy physiology. I always struggle with anatomy physiology, but this semester it was really hard. At least it was for me. It was very difficult for me. I felt like the exams were harder. On top of that, we also have a cadaver lab, so you have to go and identify the organs and the nerves and the arteries, and I thought that was really hard, especially when it came down to the limbs. You know, having to learn all the nerves and the muscles and the extensors and the flexors. It was just, it was really hard, guys, to be honest. So thankfully, I'm done with anatomy physiology, thank God. So now it's just looking forward to my third semester of didactic year, and then I'm done with didactic year and I start clinical year. So that was just an overall of my second semester of PA school. I'm trying to keep these videos short, so I'm sorry if I'm rambling, guys. Just want to give you a peek of what my second semester was, how it went. Overall, like I said, I did a lot better in comparison to my first semester, and I can say that was because I actually learned how to study and I learned what worked best for me. And I think that's one of the things that most students struggle with. The first semester is learning how to study and how to study effectively, how to study in a way that you retain the information and it doesn't work. And I actually was able to learn that this semester, so I just want to share that with you guys. Alright guys, if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any comments for me, comment below. I'll try to get back to you guys as soon as possible, okay? And thank you so much for watching my video, guys, and I read all the comments you guys leave me. I may respond late sometimes if I'm in PA school, but I will get back to you. I also read all the emails I get, guys. Alright, thanks for watching my videos, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.